That being a Wednesday morning, the Senate has allocated this particular sitting for cabinet secretaries to
appear before the chambers, or rather appear on the floor of the House to be able to respond to concerns that are on normal occasions forwarded to the ministry prior the cabinet secretary's appearance before the senators. And this morning, the cabinet secretary that is expected or had been invited to appear is the cabinet secretary for Interior and National Administration, Kipchumba Murkomen. We have seen that senators have already, or rather a few senators are already inside the chamber. Remember, the number that we are looking at is at least 15 senators for the House to be deemed to have corrected at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken. And if that is not present, then that means a bell will be on for the senators to at least hasten their steps from wherever they are. Perhaps they're running late or within the places of parliament, but yet to make their way into the chambers to be able to just quicken their steps and join their colleagues in the chamber and enable the House attain that much needed quorum. Remember, if that quorum is not raised, then the House might risk being adjourned until the next sitting. And today being a Wednesday morning, if the cabinet secretary is around, then the House cannot risk to find itself being adjourned, and yet the cabinet secretary whom they had invited to appear before them has shown up. So we should be waiting to hear also from the speaker whether the CS is around parliament, and once the prayer is said and the chair taken, then the communication from the speaker will also enable the CS to be ushered in. That is the aisle from the speaker's office and leading into the Senate chambers. That is the path that the speaker will be using, and also the procession of the speaker will be using to head into the Senate chambers. And once the speaker is in the chamber, then the House, or that will signal that the House is about to commence. The mess of the Senate will be ahead of the speaker, just to lead the way into the chamber. I can see some activity at the aisle. That means that the speaker is not so far away. This morning, if the cabinet secretary for Interior and National Planning makes, or rather appears before the Senate, will be responding to question also from the Senator for Kakamega County, Honorable Dr. Boni Halwale, and these are questions regarding the status of investigations on a number of issues. On your screens, you can see the procession of the speaker already just close to getting into the chamber. And that will signal that the sitting is about to commence. The Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffa Kingi, making his way into the chamber to preside over this morning's sitting. If the quorum is present at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken, the House will commence. But for now, allow me to hand you over for the commencement of the House sitting this morning. Good morning.
Na tuombe. Ewe Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi tutazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba utuwajalie tuyatende na kufikia mambo yote atakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do you have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
So the prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, there is a quorum hitch at the commencement of the sitting of the Senate. And we have heard from the Speaker directing that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. And this is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 39 and 40. This is an allowance to the members of the Senate who are yet to get to the chambers to be able to hasten their steps and join their colleagues inside the chambers, and also enable the House attain that much needed quorum for the business that is lined up for consideration this morning to be able to be transacted. And we shall continue to take a look at the business that the senators will be transacting this morning. Being a Wednesday morning, as is the tradition, it is a sitting that is set aside for the cabinet secretaries to appear before the Senate and to be able to respond to a number of concerns that are usually forwarded to the ministries prior to the cabinet secretary appearance before the senators, of course, to be able to give a clear and comprehensive appearance before the senators, of course, to be able to give a clear and comprehensive response to the concerns or the matters that the senators raise with the ministry. So this morning, there is a full entry of questions. The cabinet secretary that is expected is the cabinet secretary for Interior and National Administration, Kipchumba Murkomen, and he will be the only cabinet secretary that the senators this morning have invited. But there are a number of questions, around 20 questions, that the cabinet secretary will be responding to if he is within the precincts of Parliament, and that will be later ushered into the chamber. The Senator for Kakamega County, Honorable Dr. Boni Halwale, will be asking or seeking to understand from the Cabinet Secretary on matters of investigations around the attack on Honorable Peter Salasia, the Member of Parliament for Mumias East constituency at Harambe Bukhaya Catholic Church in Mumias Town on the 12th of November, the year 2023. Also, the status of investigations regarding the violent altercation between rival groups at Bulimbo Primary School in Cholera Ward on 2nd December 2023 during the burial of the late Senator Godliver Nanjira Omondi, resulting in numerous injuries and significant damage to property. The member for Kakamega will also seek to understand from the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Planning on the status of investigation regarding the violent altercation between rival groups at Matungu constituency on 8th February, the year 2025, during the burial of the late Chief Agostino Odongo, resulting in numerous injuries and significant damage to property. If you're just joining us, that the House is about to commence its business, just a quorum hitch, but we believe that more members will be able to make their way inside. We're looking at around 15 senators. This is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 39 for the House to be deemed to have quorated. However, with the quorum bell on, that means that the quorum has not been attained. This is the time that the leadership of both houses, that is the whips, are required to whip their members to make their way into the chamber to be able to join the others and enable the House attain that quorum for the business to commence. But I've just seen the majority whip for, or rather the majority whip, that is Honorable Boni Halwale inside the chamber, as well as whip from the minority side, Nairobi City County Senator Honorable Edwin Sifuna inside the chamber. So perhaps there are no members within the precincts, but of course once they get to Parliament, they will be able to make their way into the chamber. The Senator for Kisumu County, Honorable Professor Tom Ojenda, also has a question for the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, and this is regarding the status update on the operationalization of Kenyaparliament location in Kisumu East Constituency, Obunga sub-location in Kisumu Central Constituency, and Kabonyo Kanyagwal Division in Nyando Constituency, all in Kisumu County, and also provide timelines for the full operationalization of the said units. Regarding the same question, or in that line, the Senator will also be seeking to understand from the CS whether the ministry has engaged members of the local communities on their needs and concerns regarding the operationalization process, particularly relating to the location of the divisional headquarters of Kabonyo Kanyagwal. That is the Honorable Senator for Bomet, Wakili Hilary Sigei, who has just walked in. The House is looking to correct. That means it should have at least 15 senators, and if that quorum bell is still on, then that means the quorum has not yet been attained. The majority leader is trying to find out whether those present inside are enough to have quorated or not yet. And of course, if the quorum is raised, then we shall, without any further delay, hand you over to the business for you to follow. The Senator for Makueni County, Honorable Daniel Manzo, also has a question for the Cabinet Secretary, who has been invited to appear before the Senate this morning, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen. His question revolves around the measures the government is implementing to address and reduce the increasing cases of abductions across the country, whether the government is conducting investigations to establish who is involved in these abductions, and if so, whether there are any individuals or groups that have been held accountable so far. Also on the same breath, the Senator will also want the Cabinet Secretary to explain if there are any measures that the government has put in place to support the psychological and mental recovery of abduction victims, and if there are any financial compensation being provided to the victims or their families. The House is about to commence its business. Currently is a 10-minute quorum bell owing to the lack of quorum for the sitting to commence. That means that more members are needed to get to the chamber. We can see that the position that the Cabinet Secretary is, or rather will be taking, has already been set up, and just waiting for the Cabinet Secretary to be ushered in and take his position. And of course, once the House commences, then he will be invited to take the stand and respond to these questions that the senators forwarded to his ministry and are looking for responses to. The Senator for Nairobi City County, Honorable Funa, also has a question this morning for the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, and this question is regarding the reasons why police officers are traveling across the country to Nairobi County for the National Police Service Promotion Board interviews are never facilitated with transport and accommodation, despite the interviews being part of official duties. Also, whether the Cabinet Secretary could explain the reasons for the delay in release of results of the National Police Service Promotion Board interviews that were conducted in Nairobi between 10th and 14th of February, the year 2025. Nominated Senator Honorable Shakila Abdallah will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. The 10-minute quorum bell is over. We should be expecting to hear from the Speaker on whether the quorum has been attained yet, or he will be adding a further 10-minute quorum bell as is provided in the House Standing Order. The Speaker should be directing for us to be able to understand whether the House will be commencing or there will be a further 10-minute quorum bell.
Sergeant at Arms, ring the quorum bell for further 10 minutes.
So that directive by the Speaker for the quorum bell to continue ringing for a further 10 minutes indicates that the House has not quorated yet. It is a Wednesday morning. Business that is lined up for consideration is engaging the Cabinet Secretary. This morning, the Cabinet Secretary that will be appearing before the Senate is Kipchumba Murkomen from the Ministry of Interior and National Administration. He will be the only Cabinet Secretary that the senators will be engaging this morning. But there is a full entry of questions from various senators. And as we wait for that quorum to be attained, we shall continue to take a look at some of the questions that the CS, once the House corrects, or if the House corrects, will be ushered in and respond to. The nominated Senator, Honorable Shakil Abdallah, will be seeking to understand on when will the current ban on night travel for public service vehicles, that is PSVs, along the Lamu, Witu, Garsen Road, which was imposed in July 2014 to curb terrorist attack, will be lifted. Also, if there are any measures that have been put in place to ensure a swift response to medical and security emergencies at night once the ban is lifted. And also, a follow-up on that question is whether the Cabinet Secretary could explain how the government has involved local communities and stakeholders in assessing the impact of the ban on the region's economy and transport sector. This morning, the House is facing a quorum hitch. The time allocated for the sitting is 9:30. It is now about 19 minutes past that. And the House has not quorated yet. The prayer has already been said and the chair taken. We have seen the first quorum bell on for the 10 minutes to know, or rather in vain, because that quorum bell did not enable the House to attain that much needed quorum yet. And right now is a second 10-minute quorum bell, the second round of the quorum bell. However, if at the lapse of this quorum bell, the quorum is not attained, then that means that the House will be adjourned until the next sitting. But this morning, being a Wednesday morning, the senators are expected or set to host the Cabinet Secretaries. This morning, only one Cabinet Secretary has been invited. That means if the quorum is not raised and the House is adjourned, then the business that is lined up for consideration this morning will not be able to be transacted. Remember, there have been incidences where the senators have invited Cabinet Secretaries but have failed to show up. But this morning, if the Senate does not correct for it to be able to commence and carry on with the business, then that means that fault will be on them, that they have failed to correct. We can see the whips from both sides trying to see whether they can be able to bring more members, but clearly if there are no members within the precincts of Parliament, then that means there is no one to whip into the chamber. We have seen the whip from the minority side, Honorable Edwin Sifuna, just come back and sort of signaling that perhaps there are no members within the precincts to be able to be whipped into the chamber. Just to let you know is that this is the second round of the quorum bell. The House has not quorated yet. Just to let you know is that this is the second round of the quorum bell. The House has not quorated yet, because once it quorates, then we should be able to be informed for the business to be able to commence. And we shall continue to take a look at the business that the senators this morning will be transacting, engaging the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration. The whip from the majority side has just also walked in without any member behind him or ahead of him. So then that means there are no members or senators within the precincts of Parliament for them to be able to whip into the chamber. We shall be able to wait, or rather we shall wait to see what the Speaker will be communicating to the House, and if the business will commence nonetheless, or they will be abiding by their own rules that at least the quorum has to be attained for the sitting of the Senate to commence. The majority leader, Honorable Aaron Cheriot, with clerks, they are trying to see whether the numbers present inside the chamber can at least be able to be substantive enough. All right, allow me to hand you over.
Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, honorable senators, we are expecting the CS in charge of Interior, who has 21 questions to respond to this morning. While we wait for the CS to be ushered in the chamber, we will proceed to order number 10. Thereafter, we will resume the natural flow as contained in the order paper. Clerk, proceed to call that order.
Order number 10, motion, report of the Kenya Parliamentary Delegation to the 150th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union, IPU, and related meetings held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, from 5th to 9th April 2025.
Senator Catherine Mama. Yes, Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, we have heard you that you have amended so that we can start with number 10 and then go back to the question. But Mr. Speaker, could you clarify Is it that the Senate is now waiting for a CS? Is it the procedure of Parliament that ministers, when they ask to come, Parliament must wait for them?
Well, I asked the clerk to usher in the CS. While that is being done, we proceed to order number 10. That's what I said.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to move that the Senate notes the report of the Kenya Parliamentary Delegation to the 150th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union and related meetings held in Tashkent, Uzbekistan from 5th to 9th April 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 8th October 2025. Honorable Speaker, this assembly, the IPU, the 150th assembly of IPU was held in Tashkent. Honorable Senators, a very beautiful country, Uzbekistan. When we were going, we didn't know what this is all about, but Tashkent is one of the most beautiful cities that we went to in a very well organized meeting, and the debate focused on the overall theme of parliamentary action for social development and justice, and provided parliamentarians an opportunity to discuss topical issues including poverty reduction, decent work, social integration, increased participation of the population in decision making, among other issues. A number of resolutions were adopted, and 3 solutions were proposed by the President then, Ms. Tulia Ackson, to ensure that we invest more in people, we ensure that the public sector takes care of people and equips them with the tools to thrive, to make economy work through fairer distribution of economic gains and involving everyone in economic decision making and strengthening all institutions that underpin the social contract. Referencing the general debate, there was a call for urgent and concrete parliamentary action on social development and justice, and the provision of several stark examples of rising poverty were raised by various members of parliament from different places. Honorable Speaker, we participated. You gave a very strong statement on the policies in Kenya and what we are trying to do around social development, among other things. Honorable Speaker, there was even a trip to field trip in Tashkent where a team of legislators were taken, and I was among them, to go and look at the manner of service provision and implementation of the health function within Uzbekistan, and we were able to pick some very good rights approach methodology of working with communities to ensure safe and healthy communities among that. And Honorable Speaker, following that, one of the decisions that was made during this IPU assembly was to transition a health advisory committee into a health committee of the IPU, and that health committee was set up, and I'm happy to report that I was elected as among the first members of parliament to sit on the IPU, newly formed IPU health committee. Now, Honorable Speaker, without taking so much time, I wish to basically indicate that IPU is usually a delegation of a strong membership from both National Assembly and the Senate, and you led us in this team. I was a member. Millie Odhiambo was also present, making good reports on the human rights of parliamentarians. We had John Kiarie, MP, also present. We had Titus Lotte. We had Clive Gisairo, John Makali, Raphael Chimera, Clark Jeremiah Nyegenye. We had Eunice Geshangi. We had Benedict Furaha, Nicholas Emegin, Innocent Bayer, John Muse, Madeline Gladys Kisama, Alice Njeri Kahuria, who did a very good job for the country, Kenya. I will not go too much into the report, and would call upon Senator Majority to second me. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to second this motion, which is a report of our Kenya parliamentary delegation to the 150th IPU and related meetings held in a city whose name Senator Halwale will easily swallow his tongue if he tried to mention, a place called Tashkent in Uzbekistan, from the 5th to the 9th of April 2025. Mr. Speaker, I appreciate each time when we send delegations out of Parliament and they bring a report. There used to be a practice in this house where sometimes, and this is as recent as last year, I'd be moving reports on this floor, Mr. Speaker, and we are getting reports of meetings that happened 2-3 years ago. I want to congratulate this team, because this is a meeting that happened just in the month of July, barely 3 months ago, that you have your report ready, and you're furnishing the House with the details of what you learned in comparable jurisdictions and what is important in this House. I want to challenge our colleagues that each time when the people of this country spend money on you by sending you to the far capitals of this world, it is for you to learn and bring that knowledge and have it implemented in our republic. And the only way that that knowledge can remain a secure record of transactions of happenings in this House, Mr. Speaker, is through reports such as this. Therefore, I want to congratulate Senator Catherine Muma as a leader of the delegation from the Senate for bringing this. Oh, Speaker, sorry, my apologies, Speaker. I don't intend to send you back to Kamale by taking away your very distinct role as a head of delegation in IPU. But Senator Catherine Muma has done justice by reminding me. Thank you. But I appreciate that 3 months after this delegation was in Uzbekistan, Mr. Speaker, we have a report and their findings. It is my sincere hope, Senator Muma and your team, that the lessons learned in here will be translated then further in the deliberations of your committee. That the lessons learned in here will be translated then further in the deliberations of your committee, particularly as members of Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, where you serve alongside other eminent colleagues of this House. With those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second.
Honorable Senators, I'll now proceed to propose the question. that the Senate knows the report of the Kenya Parliamentary Delegation to the 150th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union IPU and related meetings held in Tashkent over extent from the 5th to the 9th of April 2025 and laid on the table of the Senate on Wednesday, 8th of October 2025. The floor is open for debate. Senator Boni.
Why IPU was founded was to further, Mr. Speaker, amongst other things, democracy in the community of nations of the world. Mr. Speaker, I congratulate Senator Catherine Muma for participating in this very important conference together with our colleagues. And because we have no other way we can express some of these things, if indeed IPU was about the greater role of democratizing within communities of the world, I urge the IPU to up their game, to find the strength to speak to African leaders. Mr. Speaker, today we are seeing presidential elections in African countries being conducted by the sitting presidents in office who give no role to the electoral commissions in their countries. In the process, Mr. Speaker, their opponents are locked out of the race, their opponents are arrested, their opponents are detained, their opponents are abducted, their opponents are even killed, Mr. Speaker. The IPU must take over the role of the African Union, because the African Union, instead of speaking to this, they are busy congratulating their colleagues. The African Union has now become a talk shop, a special club for African presidents to protect each other. Mr. Speaker, we know of recent elections in Africa where senior African politicians have witnessed elections in their countries from prison, charged with treason, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we know of African countries where thousands of citizens have been killed. We know of African countries where Kenyans are being harassed in their hotels, in their businesses, in those countries, because they are being suspected to be the ones who are responsible for the unrest. Africans should know that Kenyans are very hard-working people. When they go to their countries, they are looking for business. They are not going there to play politics. I would like, at least as far as Kenya is concerned, our government to protect Kenyan citizens in such a countries where they are currently being harassed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, when I see the kind of business that African countries lose because of this instability, I say, how I wish the standing orders of Parliament of Kenya could be changed so that we could do substantive debate on this very, very serious issue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for some of us, our communities cut across nations. For example, if you take the Kenyan Somali, his relatives are in Somalia, his relatives are in Ethiopia. So when unrest takes place in those two countries, the Kenyan Somali is expected to keep quiet. Similarly, the Luos, the Maasais, they are in Kenya, They are in Tanzania. When their relatives face this kind of atrocities, we are supposed to keep quiet. Similarly, the Luyas and Tesos, our relatives are in Uganda. And when these things happen, we are supposed to keep quiet. Maybe we should change standing orders so that African parliaments can boldly debate the nonsense that is going on where the African Union has failed. I support.
Senator Maanzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, IPO is a very important organization in the world. And just as Senator Halwale had observed, it could be useful in advice and in guiding in many principles that members of parliaments all over Africa and many other parts of the world could advise governments, Mr. Speaker, or could influence politics, Mr. Speaker, in a certain way. Mr. Speaker, what has been happening in the world currently is very unique. The situation in the Sudan, Mr. Speaker, the violence in Tanzania, what we have seen in Nigeria, Mr. Speaker, Christians butchered in churches, yet it is reported that Muslims are killed more than Christians, and promptly the American government to want to intervene and bring, these groups which kill people, to an end. Mr. Speaker, IPU could help resolve these matters. I believe all these countries, their members of parliament attend IPU, and part of bringing peace into the world or giving suggestions and influencing politics of the world, Mr. Speaker, for the betterment of it, is that sharing and experiences and the best practices, Mr. Speaker, could improve the situation. I believe the best practices of politics could make the world better, because, Mr. Speaker, seems the world is led by politicians. Politicians influence what happens in many situations. I've seen the report of observers, and part of our members of parliament went to observe elections in Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. They have brought back very interesting scenarios whereby the citizens decided to attack properties belonging to politicians. They thought it causes strain in these particular countries. And Mr. Speaker, that's something to be learned by ourselves and by many parliaments of the world. When citizens decide to target certain people and to destroy their properties completely, former presidents, influential people in parliament, influential people of political parties, they target just that particular family, Mr. Speaker. It's a very sad situation, Mr. Speaker. And in a situation whereby politics destabilize a country, Mr. Speaker, innocent people suffer, like the case in the Sudan now. You see families running away, families having lost their residence, families, divided, and the people lost. Mr. Speaker, I believe the members of the Parliament of Sudan who probably come to IPU and could have shared experiences in different places of the world, and Mr. Speaker, we could reduce the suffering of the people through parliaments, Mr. Speaker, and through members of parliament when they share their experiences. Political parties and how politics are conducted, Mr. Speaker, is very interesting. Quite a number of our very good friends have lost their nominations in Uganda, and most of them were targeted, the ones in cabinet and are also in the House. And in the same political party, Mr. Speaker, they decide, we are not nominating you. It is time for you to go home. And these people move to independence and resist and want to go back to the people, while the people are telling them, please take a little bit of rest. We compare somebody else that maybe will have you in the future. And I believe these experiences, Mr. Speaker, while shared, each one of us will learn something from another member of parliament from another country. And every time there are international gatherings, my members of parliament really share their experiences on politics, on development, and how generally a country gets affected when politicians or political parties take certain decisions. Our own experience here, Mr. Speaker, with the death of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, everything, Mr. Speaker, seems to have gone back to the drawing board. People are realizing this man, Raila Odinga, really was holding a very important place in this country. He, you know, from the days he was in parliament to the many things he has participated locally and internationally, to the bringing in of a new constitution, Mr. Speaker. It had gotten to a level that the old constitution could no longer hold this nation together. And the politicians and members of parliament came together, took the best constitutions all over the world, looked for the best legal practices, and came up with a constitution, Mr. Speaker, which is largely accepted. And after elections now, people are able to move on. I wish also other nations can pick from the example of Kenya, the way Honorable Raila Odinga has behaved, the way he's able to move on after an election. I think many nations don't know how to move on after an election gone wrong. He was able to bring the country together, bring peace to a country. And Mr. Speaker, when you travel around, you are able now to appreciate how important peace is in a country. Mr. Speaker, in a country where you cannot drive at night, where there is a curfew. Mr. Speaker, in a country where people want to travel are stranded in airports, or because of politics, or because of decisions made by politicians, decisions taken at parliaments, it makes us now begin having the sense that there is, you know, the country is bigger than us, and that the positions we hold in this country go a long way to, you know, to make other Kenyans, or to determine the destinies of other people. And I believe with all the experiences shared from this particular IPU meeting, we are really, we want to learn from those who participated, pick their experiences, and make the world a better place. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
Senator Esther Akanyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also wish to support this report by Senator Muma. Senator Muma and your team, I hope you enjoy, because this country is known for its hospitality towards visitors who are visiting their country. Mr. Speaker, when you actually look at the resolutions made in that 150th Assembly, they were very serious resolutions, which I feel if the members who participated in that can bring back some, can hear, and we're able to implement, we will be going a long way in shaping the country the way we would wish to see the future generations that are coming look at it. Mr. Speaker, look at the issue of youth empowerment. You know, we talk about youth day in, day out. Yesterday we were discussing about providing internship opportunities to young people in an easy way, and a way that they are remunerated, in a way that they can also appreciate that they are giving service to this country, Mr. Speaker. And when you actually look at the wider discussion on empowering young people first need to be put in avenues where they can also give their decisions and be part of the decision-making process, Mr. Speaker. I know we have the youth parliament in other countries, Mr. Speaker. That's an idea we also need to think about in Kenya. With the youth parliament, we'll be giving young people room for dialogue so that they also grow their skills in shaping leadership in the issues I'm picking from the assembly that happened. The other issue, Mr. Speaker, is on women empowerment. You realize when women are involved in decision-making, we are likely to have decisions which are incorporated because, from a wider perspective, because women in this country endure so many challenges, and therefore, when they are giving views on a certain matter, it's most likely one through experiences or something they have assisted, and so they can see that whatever they are proposing is an idea which is likely to assist the country at large, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that country also has largely invested on, you know, they have a slogan that is from poverty to prosperity. Mr. Speaker, as members of parliament, one of the main reasons we are here is to put laws